Good morning, listeners. This is Linda from News in Bed with the headlines that you need to know before getting out of bed. Today is Friday, August 21st, 2015. Here are the top stories. North Korea fired a rocket across the border into South Korea on Thursday morning, prompting return fire of dozens of rounds of shells from South Korea aimed at a North Korean rocket launch site. The rocket landed in a mountainous area 60 kilometers north of Seoul. There were no casualties or damage. The North also issued an ultimatum to the South: turn off loudspeakers blasting propaganda across the border in 48 hours or face further military action. A deadline of 5 p.m. local time on Saturday. Mexican officials have begun a more structured approach to monitoring the 75,000 travelers who enter Mexico on a daily basis, either by car or by foot, between San Diego and Tijuana. Foreign pedestrians who will be processed separately from Mexican nationals are now required to present a passport, fill out paperwork, and pay a $20 fee if they plan to stay for more than 1 week. The purpose of this new port is to promote security, as border inspectors will check foreign visitors against international criminal databases. So far this year, Mexico has had to expel 120 Americans living in the Baja California area who had outstanding arrest warrants in the U.S., including some who were on the FBI's most wanted list. Thousands of dead fish have washed onto a riverbank less than 4 miles away from the site of last week's deadly chemical explosion in Tianjin, China. Government officials have acknowledged that 700 tons of sodium chloride was stored at the warehouse that exploded, but claim that water tests found no significant presence of cyanide in the part of the river from where the dead fish are coming from. The officials explain that this is a common occurrence during the summer when the level of oxygen in the waters is greatly reduced. 65 people are still missing after the explosion that killed over 100 people and injured hundreds more. Former President Jimmy Carter has announced that he has cancer in 4 different areas of his brain. This cancer was discovered when Mr. Carter had a follow-up MRI scan after surgery that removed 1/10 of his liver due to a tumor. Mr. Carter will now undergo chemotherapy treatments every 3 weeks. He and Mrs. Carter will be reducing their work at the Carter Center, a charitable and humanitarian foundation, which will now be headed by their grandson. Mr. Carter also says that plans for his annual trip to Nepal will depend on the course of his treatment. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has confirmed that this past July was the hottest on record since 1880. July land temperatures were 1.73 degrees Fahrenheit higher than average, and ocean temperatures were 1.35 degrees Fahrenheit higher. These environmental factors are contributing to a strong El Niño, which will have the possibility of wreaking havoc with worldwide weather patterns. And those are our headlines for today. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.